Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by DIRTtrackdigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on DIRTtrack Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the 31st Lap. Chris Marquardt here, and also joining me on the hotline is the one and only Mike Mallett. Mike, man, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be back. It's been a while.
Been a long while. It's been a busy off season for you. If you measure it from like mid-September on through where we are right now, even looking at some motorsports related travel that was scheduled for this weekend. Unfortunately, sounds like those plans to go to the NASCAR Hall of Fame induction not going to happen for you.
Nope. Mother Nature saw to that. I was supposed to have a flight and have that all taken care of, but due to weather in the Charlotte area, we're not going to be able to make that happen. So, looked at all the options, all the various things that I could have done, and logistically, it just didn't work out. So, it's unfortunate. I was really looking forward to this one, but take the good with the bad in this deal.
Right. You certainly don't want to make the drive on your own with that. Something like 12 or 13 hour one-way trip through all that weather. You know all those highways are going to be closed at some point during that trip as well.
Yeah, it's going to be, I've got John Tiff and Doug Zupan and Bill and Kim Shea, Gene Cole, and all them already down there to see Jerry Cook get inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm jealous of them, I got to tell you. So, but I hope they stay safe. As you know, anytime a snowstorm hits the South, it's a little different than us folks here in New York.
Right.
We're used to it. Our plow guys know what they're doing. They take care of business. So, those guys, it's a little bit different situation for them down there. So, again, safe travel to those guys, and hopefully I'll see them at some point, possibly this weekend, maybe Saturday, going to the Motorsports Expo.
Looking at some of the stuff that's been going on the local side of the racing program, we've got Matt Sheppard starting his own team. Big news coming out that Randy Kisacky leaving the HBR racing team to go act as a consultant and help Matt get his race team up on its feet. Very familiar with Bicknell cars. He was a former car owner in his own right for probably, a dozen years or so before he jumped on board there with the HBR team. Spent about a decade with those guys. And then we saw Mike Payne able to land Billy Decker for the number 7Z. And looking at that, also another free agent landing was Danny Johnson agreeing to go to Fonda. What's it take in these days and times to land a free agent driver that's got a marquee billing like get Danny Johnson to bring his car all the way over to Fonda when he's been so dedicated to Ransomville on Fridays? That makes an extensive amount of travel to go all that way west and now come all that way east the following night, or to put Billy Decker in your car.
Well, right now it just seems to be if you have a ride open. That's been as the years go. I mean, we could talk 20 years ago about rides and how everybody has the opportunity. You quit one deal, you hop into the next deal. There's 5 guys waiting for you to get into your car. But as the time has gone, we've seen over and over and over and again, talented guys, unfortunately, there just, isn't the car there for them to drive anymore.
Right.
So, right now, Billy Decker, very fortunate to land on his feet there with Mike Payne. That's a good deal for him. And have the opportunity to still compete on the series and the higher dollar events, and I'm hoping that deal works out for both of them. It seems like a good fit. When you talk to the folks involved, Danny Johnson going to Fonda, I think that's more of a hey, look, there's money to be made and money to be had there at Fonda Speedway. With you take Stuart Friesen out of the equation, who dominated Fonda last year.
Right.
Did he have 11 or 11, 12, whatever amount of wins he had? And now the door's kind of wide open. Ronnie Johnson switching teams, going over to Jake Spraker's own car.
Yep.
And then you'll add in, add Danny Johnson to the mix now. So he'll be in the mix week in and week out to get a win. And, with Matt Sheppard, Sheppard's going to try to do it the hard way. He looked at the landscape and decided that starting his own team and doing his own deal was going to be a better opportunity, per se, than trying to find the ride and land around someone. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out and things go for Matt. But if there's anybody that's going to be able to do that, it will be Matt. He's an exceptionally smart guy, and he definitely has the ability to, get people together and should be able to get things done.
He's got a couple of brand new Bicknell cars, and Randy spent quite a bit of time around those before moving over to help out with the Troyer program. So that's there's certainly some familiarity there, and bringing Randy in to help out on the the business side of it as well, and in terms of how to structure the team and what to do there. I think that was a pretty good move for those guys to get together. J.R. Heffner, he's announced that he's going to be back at Lebanon Valley and Albany Saratoga with his Colorusso car, which is good to see. I mean, that you kind of figured that those guys were going to end up there one way or the other, but all the same, like we were talking about, there's a little bit of that free agent opportunity. We've talked at length about how the stuff happens and behind closed doors. The teams might get guaranteed X amount of money if you win the feature, but if you don't win, if you win the feature, then you don't necessarily get paid. But if you finish 10th, the difference between what you make for 10th place and what they pay out for the feature, you might still get that money in your back pocket, and people slip passes and things like that. There's a lot more to go into the silly season than just drivers changing rides necessarily. You see guys changing home tracks. We saw last year it was Billy Dunn making a fairly surprise move when he decided to go up to Merrittville and start researching that crate engine, and it turned out to be a pretty good deal for him. And obviously we missed him at Canandaigua, and his other home track certainly wanted to have that 49 there, but ended up being a deal that worked out pretty well. And now we see more of that shifting around with Stu Friesen changing up his schedule.
Yeah, I mean, Stu, probably the biggest news of the offseason, him going to Helmar. That was the Helmar deal, teaming with Jeff Daly. I mean, that should be a super team there for Stewie. A lot of money, a lot of equipment, will be at his disposal. But it's going to be a big change for him. Even leaving Fonda and going to Middletown on Saturday nights. Middletown is a whole different animal. He'll get his fair share of victories down there, but a lot of tough competition there with Heinley and Higby. And, a few of the other guys that you have down there, Jimmy Horton coming on board as well with Helmar. So he'll have his hands full there, but again, Stewie, he can get to the front and he'll find a way to win. It's been crazy when you talk about, we were having this conversation, you look at all the things that have happened here, in the offseason. And a lot's been written about it, but, you see two guys, at the top of their game with Sheppard and Decker, and it's very rare that you'll see the two high point men in Super DIRTcar Series looking for a ride come November, December. So I think this offseason, when we were looking at the numbers on DTD in terms of traffic, usually there's a little bit of a drop-off here in December and January, but right now there has been almost no drop-off traffic-wise, and it's just because of the various things that continue to happen. It came out on Monday or Tuesday that Ryan Watt is joining Dave Zubikowski and Zuby's Racing and going to run for him on Friday nights at Big Diamond, and that's a big deal for Big Diamond and those folks in Pennsylvania. And it just seems like it's a continual announcement of news and guys changing tracks and doing some things. I had a chance to chat with Danny Creedon yesterday. I've been working on a story about him, and he's changing his plans for Saturday. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to figure it out and read it on DTD at some point tonight or tomorrow morning. But he'll be doing something different for 2016. So it's definitely a crazy off season, and I think the sprint car guys started it off for us. I think you and I talked back in, I think it was October, or was it November? I'm not even sure. Everything kind of blurs together here. But, when you had Paul McMahon, David Gravel, and who was the third? There was a third car there. All of them, and Joey Saldana, there we go. All those guys changing rides, the day after the DIRTcar, World of Outlaw banquet. Right. So, I mean, it's just been one of those years where things are crazy, and next year will probably be a winter full of nothing exciting, nothing different, and, nothing really going on.
That's the way last winter was. And we talked about that a bunch of time, how we're kind of waiting for track schedules to come out because there's none of this shifting and jiving going on. Have you heard anything more on Pat Ward, if Pat Ward's running a full season or if he has officially stepped away from driving?
Everything I've heard out of Gypsum Racing is that Pat Ward and Larry White will be running their usual right. deal. Whether or not Larry runs on Sundays, that's been the speculation. Again, I have no evidence one way or the other. There's been talk of him kind of cutting back on the weekends a little bit so he can, take a breath, so to speak, running full-time nonstop. It gets time consuming and can take a lot out of you. Anyone that does this deal knows it's a lot of work, for those guys to be able to prepare cars and have them ready, for 3 nights of action. And you look at the summer schedule this year, and the conversation I had with Randy, he talked about how difficult the month of July is going to be for, guys lower buck, or not even low buck, even the big teams. When you look at the series schedule, then you look at your weekend schedule, and you combine all that together with big shows here, there, and everywhere else. There's a possibility of running 24 races in 30 days or somewhere along those lines. So when you think about it, that's pretty intense, pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of racing. Sprint cars, you touched on the sprint cars there a few minutes ago. The Central New York Speed Week has taken form in pretty solid fashion. There was a couple announcements over the last couple weeks about that and how that's come together. You looking forward to that thing? I'm sure you are.
I'm looking forward to a few other things too, but yeah, Speed Week is always one of my highlights of the 2000. Well, there'll be the highlight of the 2016 schedule for me with the Empire Super Sprints. What's not to like about 5 nights, in a row of racing, in your backyard. I'm fortunate with where I live here in Brewerton that you look out the door basically, and I can see the Brewerton Speedway. You can definitely hear it, on a Friday night if I'm not there. So you look at that, and that should be pretty exciting, pretty intense, for all of us, and it'll be work again. There's some more big news coming. I'm going to tease something else here in the next week or so. There's some things coming together for sprint cars, and should set up a pretty neat little deal. So the details aren't all done yet, but again, that's something that's coming down the pipe, and hopefully the details will get worked out this weekend. So another little teaser, so to speak, to keep you looking, keep you thinking. It's just been, and it keeps adding to the off season, in the news and things that are going on. But Speed Week will definitely be something that people should highlight and be ready for. It's been a success here the last 2 seasons, and there's no doubt that it'll be pretty cool this year. I know when you look at the Super DIRTcar Series schedule, there'll be 2 events now during that week. One with Canandaigua. Mm-hmm. I believe that's still a series race. And then the other date now on that Sunday will be Utica Rome, and it will be a Super DIRTcar Series race on that Sunday, July the 3rd. So Thursday, June 30th at Canandaigua with the series, and then Sunday, July 3rd at Utica with the Super DIRTcar Series. So that's 2 awesome events, big block modified Super DIRTcar Series and the Empire Super Sprint Speed Week. And if you were at Canandaigua last year, I don't think you could have asked for 2 better feature finishes than the 2 that we got, between the sprint cars and the modifieds, and I'll expect the same at Utica Rome on that Sunday, July 3rd.
The Empire Super Sprint's releasing their 7th through 12th challenge program, where there's an extra $100 on the line if a car starts from 7th to 12th and is able to come away with a victory. Kind of a neat program, a little bit of an incentive to push the hard charger as well, because you guys, Empire Super Sprints gives away that hard charger award. If you move up from 12th and pick up a win, got to believe that's going to put you in the runner for that hard charger bonus as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of money there, and that's the good thing about the Empire Super Sprints. You look, they do a nice job spreading out the wealth and spreading the money, to various different guys. But that extra little bonus there, Dean Reynolds does a nice job of going out, getting sponsors, and doing those various things. And this 7-12 challenge will be pretty neat. We also have changed things up with how we're qualifying this year. There'll be time dashes or time warm-ups, and then there'll be an inversion pill drawn for the heat races. So that way, you have an opportunity to start up front, or you have an opportunity to start in the back. Guys didn't mind the draw, but they want to have their fate in their own hands a little bit more. So that's what we're going with here for 2016. It's not going to change the program at all. You're still going to have your hot laps. You're still going to have guys hot lapping in their groups, and then it'll just be time dash, time warm up session. So again, no different than you've seen in the past.
You gonna get into any of the indoor races that are coming up? I see Rico Abreu, former guest here on the 31st lap. He picked up the win in the Chili Bowl event. Had a pretty impressive wheel stand that he did at the end while still doing the donuts at the conclusion of that when he picked up his Golden Driller from out there at the Chili Bowl. You gonna take in any of this indoor racing that's coming up here through the?
I missed the Allentown deal, which was a sellout crowd down there at
PPL Center, right?
I can't remember the name of the arena.
PPL Center.
But I missed that one because I was at Cocopah, Arizona, for the Winter Heat Showdown, the 2nd consecutive year of that. But I will be at Allentown. I will be in Atlantic City next weekend, working with Shane Andrews, calling the action on Friday night and Saturday night. So looking forward to that. And then, of course, from there it's a couple weeks off, and then we head south to the World DIRTcar Nationals, Florida in February. So almost time to get things rolling again here.
On the topic of Rolling Wheels Raceway announcing that they have, about last week I think is when this all came out, was that Brett Deo's Short Track Super Series and Joe Scott Nicky directing the Race of Champions Dirt Modified Tour together, going to go race Rolling Wheels coming up later on this summer. July the 13th, the date for that.
I think that's neat. An opportunity to see Brett Deo and Joe Scott Nicky have an opportunity to work together and to be able to talk and get along and get things taken care of. Everyone had their conception of what was going on, or preconceived notion, there we go, of what was going on there in the past. But now they're able to work together. They're able to do things for the betterment of the sport, and hopefully it's a success. It took Glenn Donnelly getting involved to come up with the idea. Glenn talked to both of them, and they both were able to sit down and chat and talk, and at the end of the day they came to an agreement, and here we are. So it's nice to see a little bit of everything, stepping out of the box and bringing the Short Track Super Series to Central New York, because we haven't seen it here yet. The closest it gets is Thunder Mountain,
right.
And that's only a half hour north of Binghamton. So to have a Short Track Super Series race here in Central New York, that should be good for the fans and good for the drivers.
I like the thought of something different, a little bit different anyway, coming to Rolling Wheels. They're not running the sail panels, unfortunately. It's going to be running the regular modified bodies, but having that event at Rolling Wheels is going to be different. I think that with the tour and with the drivers that follow that, we might be seeing some new races, or some new racers in the area, necessarily people that we don't see every time the Super Dirt Series comes to Rolling Wheels, or every time Rolling Wheels opens up the gate.
Yeah, when you look at the names that run Brett Deo's deal, you're definitely going to have some different guys that show up points for the North Region. Stewie won the North Region last year, but you can expect a guy like Stewie, Anthony Perego. Trying to think of some of the other names that were part of that deal. I mean, there's a lot of good drivers that follow, Brett Deo's, operation.
Right.
Right now I'm looking it up, so that's why I'm
This is the
trying
part
to think of the other names. It's one of the, I'm having like a brain fart tonight with my names, but
Bob Hilbert getting involved with that tour as well.
Bob Hilbert, the overall series sponsor,
not bad.
which I think is pretty cool. Here we go, North Region 2015 point standings. There we go. So Danny Johnson, Andy Bicchetti, Jeff Hetzler, as I mentioned, Anthony Perego, Danny Creedon, Mike Mahaney. Mike Mahaney is a guy we haven't talked about much. The last thing we heard about him, he's got to ride with the Budge 2 team. So, expect some big things out of Mike Mahaney this season as well. You also have Tommy Meyer. He ran the North Series. So, a lot of interesting names could be at Rolling Wheels Raceway here come July.
You hear anything more on Norm Hansel's car?
Well, the rumor has been that Matt Sheppard will be driving a car for Norm.
Right.
I do not think anything has been made official, and I don't think Norm has made anything official, if that makes sense. But when I talked to Matt Sheppard, he had mentioned that they had talked. Again, nothing official.
Sure.
But knowing, Matt was very successful in that car for Norm, and Norm likes to win, like every car owner. They spend a lot of money, they want to do well. So I could see that relationship coming to fruition at some point. From what I've heard, it's not a done deal, nothing's official, but I wouldn't be surprised if that deal happened.
Run through quickly a couple of highlights that are coming up on the schedule here. First and foremost, February the 26th, Canandaigua Motorsports Park holding their annual year-end banquet at the Elks Lodge in Seneca Falls. The week after that, right back at the Elks Lodge, is going to be the annual Guerreri Racing Party at the Elks Lodge right across the river. Basically, it's right behind us where we are here at Finger Lakes 1. And the DIRTcar Nationals coming up here in, let's say, maybe about 3 weeks. That thing's coming up quick. You going to make it down to Florida?
You betcha. Yep. Flight's been booked since last July.
February the 20th is the final night of the DIRTcar Nationals at the Volusia Speedway. Modified's running the final 4 nights of that, the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th, running alongside the Gator Championship on Wednesday night, and then the final 3 nights all running in conjunction with the World of Outlaws. The final event, if you can't make it down there, you can always go to the Hideaway just down the road from Fulton Speedway, as Fulton Speedway and Riverton Speedway host their combined year-end banquet / preseason party where basically everybody gets together, just does a bunch of bench racing, has dinner together. They give out a couple of awards, and just basically get ready to come together as a racing family and launch the 2016 season. So that's sitting right around the corner. Again, the finals at the DIRTcar National is scheduled for the 20th of February. The event at the Hideaway is going to be on the 20th as well, right there in Fulton. If you jump on either FultonSpeedway.com or RivertonSpeedway.com, you can find out more about those events. More details are still to come. How about Merrittville Speedway? It's one of the only tracks I think that I've ever heard about that came out with a press release announcing that they had no rule changes.
Yeah, well, that's good. You know, every year you see
How great is
things
that?
happen with the rules, so, you know, it's nice. Come out, get it out of the way. Hey, look, positive things. You know, the money you spent last year, you don't have to spend any more this year and during the off season. So, you know, good for Merrittville and good for those folks, and you know, have their things out. And I believe they're getting close to having their complete schedule too, if I recall reading that release.
The schedule's coming out real soon. I was most impressed with, if you are a sportsman or 358 modified division driver and a member of both DIRTcar and Merrittville, you get a free 65th anniversary T-shirt when you sign up.
Yeah, yep, that's a neat deal. Free shirt. Who doesn't like that?
I'll pay for membership to both just to get the shirt.
Yeah.
And they've got their banquet coming up here at the end of the year as well, and they've got to be basically eligible by doing all of the jumping through all the hoops and making sure they're ready to go. February 27th is a Q&A session that's planned up there. Bicknell had a Q&A session here, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks back. They had a ton of people up there for that. I guess it went over pretty well. I've never been to one of those things, but I'd like to go sometime.
It was a capacity crowd from what I heard, so they definitely had a good thing there at Bicknell. And I think that's one of those things kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every year, with various folks signing up and going. And you know, Bicknell has always been good with their customer service in terms of being willing to help people and going out of their way to get people assistance. You know, and adding Randy Kisacky, you know, as we mentioned earlier, as a consultant for their Southern Deer drivers, you know, it shows, you know, that they're willing to, you know, do what they need to do in order to get, you know, their customers what they need.
Have you been following along what we've been doing with these RC cars down at Radio Hill at all?
No, I see it. I still keep seeing it online and noticing it, and I watch the videos once in a while.
I got to get you down here to check this thing out sometime. We got a big race coming up on the 28th of February down there. If numbers hold, I'm thinking we're going to be somewhere around 60 cars down there. And I got a car ready for you if you ever want to come down and drive that thing. You've got an open invitation. It is a ton of fun. Paul Guerreri came away with his first win over the weekend, Saturday. 39 cars strong for the Mud Bosses over at Radio Hill Raceway. There's now a track in Fulton that's running them. There's a carpet track in Jamestown. There's a track over near Binghamton. And then there's also a new carpet track opening up in Rochester. You got to do it sometime. It's a ton of fun. My dad took his car out for the first time. He broke the shock like 3 times and busted a body mount off after his car got stepped on.
Now, how do you race on carpet? Does the car obviously doesn't slide or anything, right?
No, it doesn't. Nope. You're not allowed any traction compound in this. This is the Salvis Mud Boss division, which Eric and Steve Salvis have developed. Those guys are huge in RC racing, and they're part of the Salvis family. You remember Gaston Salvis from DIRTcar. They've developed this low budget, easy to conform to process that basically takes a box stock Traxxas / 2-wheel drive, and you can put a set of foam tires on it and you can go race. And that's for basically a packed clay track. There's other rules that allow you to put the original knobby tires on it so that you can run on a loose dirt track, in which case you got to back steer, they broad slide, they step out, all sorts of crazy stuff. The carpet conditions are a little bit different. They're running a little bit beefier motors in those, and they run on what they call a low center gravity chassis, so it lowers the car right down against the carpet. And basically, you're not allowed any tire compound, but on the carpet combination that they've got, you just whip around in a circle like crazy. It's if you don't have a good handle on your car, you're out to lunch quick, no matter what, whether you're running on the packed clay or running on the carpet.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And at some point this winter, when I get some free time, I'll have to come check it out.
You'd have to come down, man. It'd be a ton of fun. After that, we get back to the house, we can play some World of Outlaw Sprint Cars. I haven't had that game out since I think last time you were at the house.
I played the other night for the first time in probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
Right before the chili bowl. Had some friends over.
How'd it go?
But good. I haven't lost it on the easy settings. I didn't go crazy and put in the hard because I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like wrecking my car multiple times. But on easy, I still had a chance. So
Right.
I still did all right.
Not bad. Did you take in any of the chili bowl? I mean, did you watch the whole thing front to back like Balmas did?
I did not go. Balmas watched. He had the best seat. He was actually there, so he got to see it. Real deal. But I only watched it on Saturday night. That was it. I just had some other things going on, but made sure to take care of Saturday night and watch the A-Main. Pretty good race as always. Someday we'll get there, but right now, unfortunately, I can't do it. But someday I definitely want to be out there. So let's hope. And it's an amazing event. They continue to draw cars. I mean, almost 400 again this year. It doesn't get much better than that.
Did you happen to catch any pictures of the car that was hanging in the fence? Upside down, well above the track?
I've seen a couple in the past. I didn't see any this year, but those guys, they know how to wreck stuff.
Well, this one got tangled up in like the safety fence. The guy was dangling
Mm-hmm.
literally above the track. It was pretty harrowing looking, but I mean everybody was okay.
That's a good thing. And that's a good thing. It seems to be with those cars on it. Usually, everybody's okay, and but they do take some nasty wrecks out there at the Chili Bowl.
Larry White competing out there. He won his heat. Didn't do too bad.
No, impressive. It's something you don't. It's impressive just to have Larry go out there in his first time running one of those cars, do such a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately didn't make the A-Main, but still the fact that he went out and was impressive and won his heat race from, I think he started 7th or 8th, shows our New York guys know how to get it done. So it was good to see.
Let's see. Coming about 4 minutes away from a half hour. Is there anything else that we should hit on? I see Billy Pauch getting ready to debut some new colors. Changed up the sponsor lineup.
That'll be out tomorrow, so that looks neat. Yellow and black. I always like yellow race cars and black. So
right.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Billy Pauch's cars are always sharp looking anyways because they look like they're hand painted, and I believe they are. So I think that's pretty neat.
Wow.
And I'm hoping this one is the same way. The teaser photo we got, with the front end of the car.
Right.
I can't wait to see the rest of it.
Yep. Steve Payne looking to debut some new colors this year as well. Trying to make sure that we hit on all the topics that we wanted to hit on tonight. Merrittville, the Super Series, Pauch, Heffner, and then the free agents. Anything else that you got? Go ahead.
No, I think we covered it.
Quick one. Episode number 186. Looks like we're pretty close to putting a fork in it. You going to be around next week at all?
I gotta think of where I'm going to be. I should be around next week to be able to talk to you, chat with you again.
Cool. I look forward to it, man. We got to get together here for too long.
Yeah, I know. I keep telling Balmas we got to make the trek out for these weeks. So
be good to see you.
You never know. Stranger things have happened. So
I understand that, no question. But I think that'll do it for this week on the 31st lap. We appreciate everybody coming on and hanging out with us. Looking forward to some racing action coming up here soon. This cold weather, it can go away anytime. Unfortunately, Mike, man, you couldn't make it down there to the Hall of Fame inductions. But before too long, you'll be in Florida and soaking up the sun down there in Volusia.
No, let's hope. I can't wait.
We'll catch up with you soon, Mike. That's going to do it for this edition of the 31st lap. We'll see you right back here again next week.